everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Super Sleepy Gamer. I'm sleepy like I normally am, but this is actually a really exciting episode. I'm going to talk about a game that is in my core collection, and it's part of a series that I love. It's right here. That's right. It's Castlevania Bloodlines. This is the sole Castlevania entry for the Sega Genesis. It was made by Konami, who Konami would never make an erotic Castlevania pachinko machine. That's how much we love Konami. They would never do something like that. But anyways, yeah, I love the Castlevania series. Now, you have to understand, it's actually a really big part of history because in the 80s, Konami made the first Castlevania game, and that actually gave the world its first vampire. The character's name was Dracula, and there was a lot of people who copied the monster vampires after that. Anne Rice makes movies, Interview with the Vampire, all that good stuff. Bram Stoker's Dracula. I'll get more into that later because that was a debacle, but I'll talk to you. I like to talk about the cover a little bit because the covers are always exciting. This one has a guy who is impossibly... maybe you could look that muscular, but he's also... his arm is bending, and he wouldn't be able to do that. But anyways, in this game, it's a little bit different than the other ones. You get to choose from one of two people. The first one is Jonathan Harker. The second one is Van Helsing. Alright, now, the story, you pick one of those guys. The story is Dracula comes back, as he's wont to do. He's like one of those neighbors who you don't want to come over, but they do. You walk outside, they're like, hey neighbor, and all you wanted to do was mow your lawn. You didn't really want to interact with anybody. But he shows back up, and of course, it is the duty of the Belmont clan to go and fight that bastard. In this one, he doesn't have the same name as the Belmonts, he's just a descendant, but that falls onto Jonathan Harker. And again, he's joined by his friend Van Helsing. Now, when Dracula comes back, being that he's a vampire, he turns a woman into a vampire as well. Her name is Carmilla, and both of the characters you play as, the two guys, I think she's pretty hot. They kind of like her, right? So they're actually Dracula's maybe a secondary concern. Mainly, they want to find Carmilla. They want to hook up with Carmilla. It's kind of a love triangle story, so that's what's going on. In fact, here's the thing. I'm going to get back to Bram Stoker's Dracula. In the early 90s, maybe, there was a director named Bram Stoker, and he wanted to make a movie about Castlevania. Konami wouldn't give him the rights, so he just called it Bram Stoker's Dracula. Alright, so he made a story that, in that it still had the same characters. You had Jonathan Harker, he was played by Ted Theodore Logan. You had Van Helsing, he was played by Hannibal Lecter. Carmilla, she was played by Lydia Dietz. Dracula himself was played by Commissioner Gordon. So the story remained pretty much the same. He took some liberties, so Konami couldn't sue him. But if you've seen that movie, you kind of know the gist of what goes on in this. So when you play in the game, one of them, Jonathan Harker, he uses the traditional Belmont whip, as we know. You should know they use the whips to kill the vampires, apparently. I don't know. Maybe they're into S&M. And then the other guy, Van Helsing, he uses a spear. Now, the guy with the whip, he can latch onto things, and that allows him to swing over large gaps. That actually lets him go to different places that the other guy can't. The other guy, I think it's similar to the princess from Super Mario Bros. 2. But I guess they all did that in Mario 2, but he can use his spear to jump really high. And that can get him to different places. So there is a difference when you play both of them. You can play through it a couple times, and you'll have some replay value. That's good. There's a boss tries to drown you with water. Now, one thing that the Castlevania series brought to light for a lot of people in the United States who didn't really know this. Now in Transylvania, that's where the Castlevania usually shows up. Castlevania, by the way, is Dracula's castle. Is what they call it. Transylvania Castlevania. They combined it. Not that clever. But anyways, Transylvanian architects, when they built something, what they would do is they would build a wall, but then they would also include within the wall meat products. Now these meat products are there to make you feel better, to give you more energy. Alright, so if you're walking around in Transylvania, if you ever visit Transylvania, if you are hungry, you're feeling down, a little weak, just break a fucking wall, and there'll be meat in there, and you can eat it, and feel better. So they took that concept in the game Castlevania when they're making it, and so if you're wandering around Castlevania wondering, hey, you know, why can't I need energy, you just break a wall. You break a wall, you'll probably find some turkey, it's really good, you just eat it and you'll feel better. Alright, now this is Alucard, or Alucard, or whatever. He is a representation of the son of Dracula. He has nothing to do with this game, but I have him here now. I mean, obviously his father is Dracula's in this game, but so he is from other Castlevania, a couple other, which I'm sure one day I will cover, because it's the freaking Castlevania series. All right, and he deserves it. We'll see about that. All right. So, anyways, in the game, like I said, you find the food in the walls. You travel around the world, which is odd. That's actually a cool thing. In most games, you stay pretty much in Dracula's castle. This one gives you some bullshit reason to go around the world. I don't know what the reason is. I forget, but it's fine. It's cool. Probably Carmilla's running around, so you keep following her. One of the places you go to is the Leaning Tower of Pizza, right? So, like I said, you get meat in all the walls. When you get there, I was thinking, oh, you break a wall of the Leaning Tower of Pizza, what you're gonna get is pizza. That makes sense. That's logical. But you get the fucking meat again. It's still the damn meat. It doesn't ruin the game. I want you to understand that. It does not ruin the game, but it's a disappointment. You're in a tower that's named after a food, and you get a totally different food inside the walls. Don't approve of that. That was lazy. So, anyways, you play through with the two characters. It's pretty linear. So you just go through it. You go to different locations. Eventually, you do get to it. See, that's the thing. If they're chasing Carmilla, she just ends up back in Dracula's castle. They could probably just went to Dracula's castle anyway. So all that stuff, that was just a waste of time. But they get there, right? And of course they're competing with each other. So every now and then they get into a little spat. You have bullshit, and you get there. So of course you fight Dracula, right? He's all serious shit. All right, you fight him and you think, oh, this is nothing. He's just a fool. He's got a cape. He looks cool, but he's easy, no problem, right? But then he turns into a huge motherfucker, right? And that shit gets a little crazy. Before I go on, I'm not gonna ruin too much of the ending for you. Actually, I might tell you the whole ending. I do want to say that obviously you've been listening to this video. I've given you information that you're not gonna get anywhere else, right? You're not gonna. Most people don't know that Bram Stoker stole all his freaking ideas from this Konami game. So you know that now. I'm gonna give you some more information about Death. All right, real fast. Now Death, he's Death. You fight Death in this. He's like Dracula's best buddy. They're the ones who go drinking together all the time, right? So it's Death. What are you gonna do? Well, in the game, you actually have to collect pornographic magazines, right? So when you fight him, you don't actually kill him like you would normal enemies. You throw him the pornographic magazines. So what he does is he looks at those, right? And he touches himself. So he actually deaths himself. And that's the way you do it. Now, when you're playing the game, you have to interpret this. This is why other people that talk about this game don't understand. You have to interpret it. In the game, it's visually portrayed as you jumping and hitting him with your weapon like any other enemy. But you gotta read between the lines. You know it's the pornographic magazine and him touching himself. It makes sense. It's Death. Alright, so you fight Dracula. He's a pain in the ass. You kill him, right? And you're happy. But ultimately, again, your goal is Carmilla. So you have the two guys and Carmilla. Dracula's dead. It's finally time for her to make the big decision. Who does she like? Van Helsing or Jonathan Harker? Well, here's the thing. You kill Dracula. You know what happens when you kill Dracula? You kind of kill his Castlevania as well. So the castle starts crumbling, falls apart. You know, and usually that means dawn's about to come too. So everything's crazy. They get Carmilla out of there, but guess what? The sun comes up, and it fries Carmilla. So all that damn work, all that whole journey, she just fries. She's dead. So neither of the guy get Carmilla. They, fortunately, with the ending, they laugh it off. They're fine. They're all right. You know, they go to some pub. They find some wenches, not as fancy as Carmilla, but they find some wenches, have a good time, and that's that. So yeah, the Castlevania game is traditionally known for having great music, and this is no exception. Really good music. In fact, I recommend if you get the game, go into the soundtrack. You'll find actual tracks in there that are not in the game. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they had a bunch of stuff planned and they took it out because they hated us. I don't know. But the music's cool. All right? And the game's not that long, so I'm not going to say lose a lot of sleep. But you know what? I think it's fine. If you want to stay up all night and lose sleep, who cares if you're a zombie the next day? You played Castlevania. All right? Well, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.